Ah, the stream started.
Uh-oh.
The stream has begun. Oh, Ragdoll's here. Hi, Ragdoll.
Hello.
Is Ragdoll here? Ragdoll might not be here.
I heard a boom earlier.
So, I didn't hear nothing. Discord!
That's why I
Well,
stopped talking.
Ah, there we go. Hello.
But I don't think I'm muted.
Yeah, you're here now. Hello.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just shut up so that you could talk, but then I thought, oh, they're not talking that yet. That's okay. I must stop talking again. I didn't acknowledge it. I'm sorry.
That's fine. None of us know what we're doing. It's grand.
Indeed.
Yeah. Welcome to Project Via. Again, part 17? Yes. 17 streams we've done of this now.
Time flies.
Oop.
No, those are the blood bees. Time flies are probably in a different...
Yes. Sorry, I forgot to get rid of the thing at the top. It's fine. Here's a very hurriedly made cat key. Here is a picture of an actual cat. Yeah, how are we doing? Are we doing well?
Yeah. Just trying to finish folding laundry quick.
Cool, cool. Oh, this cat's upside down. This is
I
a ceiling
thought
cat.
I would search Pinterest for kitty cat, and the first thing that popped up I would draw, and it did not disappoint. It's a cat on a ceiling.
It's the cat on the ceiling. As cats do, I guess. Can't say as
I guess I don't have a cat, I couldn't say.
But I've had a couple, and none of them have been on the ceiling, as far as I know.
As far as you know.
As far as I know. What they get up to in the evening is none of my business.
If they could, they would.
Yeah. I mean, if I could, I would.
Chib will be joining in a bit. But yeah, other than that, we have been we've all been working very, 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 very hard on our McGuffins.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
And I know what I was supposed to do too.
To be fair, one of us has actually done work because just before the stream, many things were added to the Project Via Discord thing about Magnavius Guffin.
If I could do environments, it totally inspired me.
I figured that the name should be at least mildly pretentious sounding.
Yes.
Right. With the slight wizard nonsense.
Only slight. I demand much. All the wizard nonsense. All the time. Yes, so the Magnavius Guffin. Should I read this out, or do you want to talk about it? I guess you should talk about it. It's your idea.
Oh. So I got the world. And everyone got wizard nonsense, so I figured, okay, well, combine the two. We have a key item archive of sorts, manned by a grumpy wizard, of course. And I don't know if this would be like a place where you could check out key items of dubious usefulness, or if it's just a place where you can learn about key items, or if it's a place where you find a key item and you need to get it like appraised, because heck, if you know what to do with this thing, be forewarned. Trying to ask Guffin here about their interests, as it were, will lead to many long explanations, as that happens when you try and get any academic to give you a short summary of something they have an expertise in. It will not happen. and just the whole idea of sort of the archive. So I don't know if either of you have been deep into any like academic archive, which is different from like a public library, because the public library is supposed to be usable by the general public.
I thought you were
much
just gonna stop
easier.
at usable.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, usable too. So you can find things, and there's like enough walking space, wheelchairs and whatnot. But archives are not built for people; they're built for objects, and that usually involves walking in and going like, "Ah, I see why this is called the stacks now," because literally
Literal
you have things stacked up to the ceiling.
Oh no. Well, it's weird you should say the wheelchair part, because I recently got a parking ticket for a car
Oh.
in my scoot,
Oh.
which doesn't make a lot of sense. So I had to look into a bunch of laws, and apparently there's local laws in my county that I didn't know existed. So I technically am a car in that.
Mm.
So I have to look up a handicap card. What's the the piece of paper you put in the front of your car so you
Yeah, it's a
can
car
park in
stack.
handicap spots?
Yeah.
Probably not called a handicap card.
No, I just
So
like to call it a sticker or something. It's probably got a name.
probably it's just a handicap card in Danish. We're very literal. And so I looked at the DH handicap something or other website, DH for short. And apparently their offices is the most handicap accessible office in the world. I didn't know that. And it looks kind of like that one library you posted in Discord.
No.
Well, hopefully it doesn't look like some of the things I posted in there, because some of them it's just kind of like, this is a narrow place that only one person could fit through if they sort of wiggle.
Yeah. I was going to say that when you say that one library, there were many photos and many of them do not look.
The one that has the most accessible vibe. So
Yeah, there were some in there where it's like, this isn't technically an archive, it's an old library with like multiple floors and whatnot, but it's like just this whole idea of you walk in there and you go, oh, this is bigger than I thought it was. And I'm sure there's some areas of the archive that are like more user friendly, that have like more general things, but like the area where the McGuffins are stored, it's like, good luck trying to go through there. Also, if it's anything like some of the archives we have, so some things in archives you have to be very careful with. So we've got some like samples of local grasses, and you have to be careful with those because it's dried grass. But also there's some things of like, this is a piece of rock. This is a large piece of rock. We regularly use it as a doorstop. Yes, technically it is part of the archive, but also it's a rock.
I hope it's not an important rock.
I mean, depending on who you ask.
It's important. It's keeping the door open.
There is that, yes. I'm sure someone would find that rock very important, and I'm sure other people would look at that and go, it's a rock. As far as I know, it's not like an interesting thing. It's not a fossilized thing. It's I think it's just like a hunk of quartz or something. It's like, okay, cool. It's a rock.
Yeah, you can get those in the garden centre for an aquarium. It's fine. I remember back as a kid, I had a gemstone phase,
Aww.
as I'm sure many kids do. And I found this really cool hack, which is that if you want to get gemstones or things that are like, cool crystals and stuff like that, if you go to the crystal shop, they're really expensive. But you can get really big ones at like garden centers
Nice.
because they're not selling them as gemstones; they're selling them as things to put in fish tanks. I got a massive lump of rose quartz. It's real cheap.
Actually, I have been looking at stuff like that just to put on the shelves for being pretty.
Pretty.
And boy, are
It also
they.
sort of depends on the grade that you're getting. So, like, jewelry grade gemstones, they usually want to be, like, very clear without any, like, marks on the inside. So they don't want it to be cloudy and they don't want to have, like, any looking things on the inside. But all you want is just, like, a hunk of rock. There's lots of hunks of rocks out there.
Yeah, they're cool.
I love the word hunk. A hunk of rock.
There's a hunk of rock.
And then
Could be
also
dr-
you've got things like if you don't care that much about it being a natural rock, you can get a good size artificial sapphire pennies in comparison for what you would buy from like natural gemstones. And it's like, you know what, if I just want something pretty, it's still a sapphire. You just made it in a lab instead of digging it out of the dirt.
Yeah. There's a Chib.
Hi,
Yip, yip.
Chib.
it's me.
It's Chib.
I am tired.
That is fine. I mean, I mean that in the sense of that causes no negative consequences for us, but I don't mean that in the sense of that is a good state to be in.
I get it.
I don't mean that as to say you should always be tired. Be happy. Be happy you're tired. Yeah. I forgot to put music in the background. I should put music in the background.
Oh.
Sorry, Aid. Old Ziegler.
Until music, I have a gorgeous sound for you.
Aha. See, if I forget to do that before the stream, I always try and do it really quietly under the desk and it never works. Microphones are really sensitive to that sound.
Oh. Whoops. Sorry about that.
Oh, no. It's just...
I
That's
just
not...
know in a secret Society streams, Jacob always does the pull tabs to the mic.
I mean, if it's gonna pick it up anyway, you might as well lean into it.
I've been drawing a cat and you've been drawing a whole ass world.
If it makes you feel any better, it's in service of a very, very stupid idea.
Yay!
Oh, look at Sleepy Cat. Look at them before they wake up.
Smushy cat. Oh, it looks very comfy.
Kiki slept in this room today for the first time in bloody ages. It's usually too hot up here in the summer, so it's now officially cool enough for her to want to come back up here.
Nice.
So I had company while I was working.
The Eldritch Beast has returned.
Yeah. What was the spelling?
I usually just type whatever and then have the spell check tell me what it actually should be.
I gave a very specific, like, spelling for Eldritch Beast Kiki. we talked about it, but it was...
What was that apparently? Oh, you've got it.
Yeah.
Hee.
Because we were talking about Lovecraft, I believe.
Yeah.
I still like the decision of the apostrophe after the second I. Just useless.
not useless, it serves a very important purpose, which is to suggest a letter after it that we can't see with our mortal brains.
Mm-hmm. Only for peanuts.
Incomprehensible to mortal brains and unpronounceable via mortal tongues.
Also, ceiling cat. Ceiling cat
Ceiling cat.
does whatever a ceiling cat. I was going to say something, now it's gone. So I will go back to an earlier thought that I had, which is when we were talking about hunks of rock. I would like Chibi to draw me a very handsome stone golem
Okay.
as a hunk of rock.
Hunk of burning rock.
That's actually very good. That could be like a poster.
I need you to know that you said that, and for some reason my brain first went to stoic, and I don't know what that says about me.
Stoic pinup.
I mean, you could. Nobody's stopping you.
Yeah.
I'm
Stoic
not sure
certainly
anyone
isn't.
can.
As I've said on several occasions, Stoic very rarely wants to do anything, but by the same token, he very rarely has a reason not to do anything.
Which
So
means I can make a stoic pinup and it will be completely canon. That's what you mean, right?
probably if somebody could talk him into doing it, which wouldn't be too difficult.
Is drawing a pinup on the stream against terms of service?
It depends what's in the pinup, really.
Stoic.
Nah, it's fine.
I mean, I'm pretty sure there are pinup types that you could draw that wouldn't be against terms of service. And there are some that would be, but as long as it's not explicit.
Thing is, it's also Stoic, so I'm not entirely sure how that would go explicit. I don't know. I don't even know if Stoic has a face. You know? You gonna know what's going on with the rest of the body? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's fair, because I make one Outliers comic a year. Although I am currently in the process of writing 2 long comics simultaneously, which is probably not good practice. One of them is Chibi's fault, even though I asked them for help.
But it is still my fault, I see.
Yes. You could have said no.
You know me. I started. You don't even need to give me a reason to start rambling about history. You asked for it.
How dare
See, this is what happens when you ask someone, when you get someone talking about an area of expertise. They'll just keep going, and you cannot stop them.
Yeah, I thought it'd be fun to do a historical story. And it is coming along well. Got a bunch of jokes, bunch of funny scenes, a basic idea of how it's supposed to go. But it'll also be relatively long, so... You know me.
Gonna take a while.
It's gonna take a while. Before then, I have a bunch of other little comics to do. As well as all the other stuff that I'm doing. Because I'm terrible.
Everyone is terrible.
Yeah, I've also might as well explain what I'm doing with my McGuffin thing. It's not really a McGuffin. I guess it could be a McGuffin. It's a big McGuffin. You probably have a McGuffin to activate the McGuffin. I don't.
I
So I was
mean, that is a thing that happens. You need a
Yeah.
MacGuffin to get the MacGuffin.
Yeah, McGuffining McGuffins. Anyway, so I was thinking about, because last time I came up with this idea of like the plant that helps illuminate things underwater, because the deeper in the abyss you go, the less light there is. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool to have a more global effect of that rather than so like earlier on you're trying to help get these plants or the jellyfish to help you, so on and so forth. But then later you find out, there's actually this big old mechanism, big old thing in the supports of one of the supports of the viaduct that's full of mirrors and lenses and things like that. And for a series of complicated light puzzles, which everybody loves, you activate this thing as you're working your way down the abyss. And when you activate it, the sunlight is sort of directly beamed from above ground down through the pillar, and then is sort of spread out through these sort of huge sort of glass dome things, and the entire, not the very bottom of the abyss, but a large section of deep abyss is illuminated as though it were daylight.
And I'm sure some people are very cranky about that.
And yes, the consequence of that is that everybody now hates you. Because their ecosystem is darkness. They are used to darkness, that's how they live in darkness. They are now no longer safe from predators. The things that they grow down here in the dark are being killed by the light. And the second half of this quest is you now have to deactivate the big light pillar.
Oh.
So yeah,
That's-
Way to
this
break it,
quest
hero.
Okay, this game.
this quest is to activate the light pillar and then deactivate the light pillar.
It's just as annoying and stupid as everything else in this game.
I am glad that the idea is understandable enough that Ragdoll knew exactly where it was going. That these people, they live in dark waters. They don't want the daylight. If they wanted the daylight, they'd go up. Let different cultures experience things in different ways. Don't impose your idea of good on them. Metaphor.
Yeah. Because you said good on them. Sorry.
Pardon? Sorry?
I just said good on ya, because you said good on them.
Good on them, good on ya, good on one and all. Merry Christmas. It's that dog.
It is.
Yes.
Listen to that dog.
Dog's the mascot of these streams, you know that.
Now I have to help dog, because it's a new stream place,
Eee.
and the bed is too tall for him. Come on.
Wow. Trials and tribulations.
Whee! There you go.
You know, I just realized that this image is mostly incomprehensible from the side.
Okay, let's work this out. Giant pendulum. No. Oh, a ladder. A ladder on a bookcase in the library.
Yeah. It's
Got
very,
it.
very tall.
Very, very tall. I'm bad with ladders. This would not be good. I do not ladder grade.
This angle doesn't technically work right, but that's okay.
You expect perspective to work anywhere near where the wizards are.
That's true.
There's a game that I followed the development of called Hyperbolica, which is, as Ragdoll has already surmised, hyperbolic. By which I mean, well, there's also elliptic levels, but basically non-Euclidean, and a lot of games, particularly ones involving cosmic horror, claim to have non-Euclidean bits and pieces, but they don't. This one is actually programmed from the ground up. Well, not from the ground up. They use Unity, which is actually quite surprising. But they've programmed it to be actual hyperbolic and elliptic geometry, which is weird. So basically, if you want to walk in a circle, you're probably going to have to walk more than 360 degrees. And weird things like that. A lot of right angles that don't end up getting you back to where you started in as many turns as you'd think, or more, or fewer. And going up is weird. Either way, point being, proof of concept, you can program hyperbolic or elliptic geometry into Unity. So it is possible that every time you go near a wizard in this game, space just goes weird.
And I'm sure the players would love that.
Yes. We need to make this game less playable.
Yeah, exactly. I've given up on Stoic Pinup. I will do it, just not on the stream. So be prepared for that, I guess.
Oh no. Whoops. I was drawing generic sort of person. Merson. They also have a fish head. A fish tail instead of a ponytail.
Nice.
Well, if they had a ponytail, they'd be a seahorse.
Aha! Also, I guess underwater a ponytail would be curly, wouldn't it?
Would it?
Well, yeah, the tail of a seahorse is all curly, isn't it? Little spirals. Also, hair tends to go a bit curly when it's wet. Unless it's very wet, in which case it's straight. This analogy's bad.
Yeah, it depends on the hair.
Different people have different hair. Mine's awful. For example. And needs to be washed constantly. Bloody thing.
Just do as in the Middle Ages.
Right, and let's see if I can attempt to shade this. In a way that does the idea. Does it does the idea justice? It's whatever. So yeah, what other McGuffins are we gonna have in this world? What a world McGuffin.
A door.
A door.
It's just a normal door.
Just an ordinary door.
Only door in this world that's ordinary.
Yeah, that's what makes it special. I wonder, there's a mod for Morrowind that I tried out once, which just randomizes all doors. So you go through a door, you come out of a different door. I wonder if that's just the case in this world. Something went wrong with the doors.
With a tower it is, right?
Yeah, I mean, that probably would be a thing in the Wizard Tower. Or, I know there's at least a couple of randomizers that have door settings where you can have the doors randomized, the entrances randomized. And I can't speak for all of them because the main one I'm familiar with is the one for Ocarina of Time.
Ooh.
The door randomizer in that randomizer has two settings: linked and unlinked. Linked means that you
play as Link.
go through a door. So you go through the entrance to, say, the Deku Tree, and it leads you to Death Mountain Crater. Well, that then means that the entrance to Death Mountain Crater, you go back through, and it leads you to in the Kokiri Forest, where you would enter to get to the Deku Tree. So it's randomized, but it's still like connected. Unlinked means that, okay, you walk through the doorway to get to the Deku Tree, you end up at Death Mountain, you turn around, go back through that doorway, and then you end up at Kakariko Village. So makes it even more difficult to figure out where you're going.
It would make a bit more sense if I knew those places.
Yeah, there is that.
Well, basically, yeah. Well, one of them is if you go through a door from A to B, then going back through the door takes you from B to A. If the other setting, if you go from A to B, going back will take you from B to C. And then that door going back through that will take you from C to D. And you can just keep changing backwards and forwards.
So, will it change the third time, or will it go back to 1?
It might do at some point. But theoretically, there are finitely many doors, so it will eventually loop. But...
yeah, but not everything may be in that loop.
Yeah, there might be multiple loops. Let's talk about permutations. No. You see, there's a thing called cycle type. It basically just talks about how many loops there are and how long they are. That's it. That's the cycle type.
I don't know cycle type, but I don't know a lot of Pokemon.
I was drinking! They made me laugh when I'm drinking, how dare you.
Yay. It's been a while since I did that. Best jokes are always when you have to say, I'm so funny.
That's the scratchy noises while I'm doing this. I don't know if you can hear them.
Nope.
I'll do them louder then.
Yeah.
I think they must have updated Agio, because now I can actually select things in the menu with my stylus,
Oh.
which is nice.
Nice. Quality of life improvement. Oh, and speaking of, not that I use drawing programs for much, but I did take a look. It looks like that Clip Studio is planning on still doing bug and security issue updates even
that's
after.
So it's just
So, like, if you,
features.
yeah, so it's just a feature thing. Which, as you were saying earlier, that last time, that's not. I mean, if it does what you need it to do with how it's made right now, great.
Yeah. You essentially, you get the finished version of version 1, even though they're calling it version 2, and then you can opt in to, you can subscribe to get early access to beta features for version 3 or whatever. That's the way I'm sort of thinking. But again, I can understand if there are frustrations.
Yeah, it is frustrating, but I'm just gonna keep using this version until it dies on me. So,
Yeah, I have no issue with this version at all.
I mean, especially because also they'll keep the asset store working,
Oh, good.
so you can still download whatever assets you want from other people.
Yeah, I mean,
True,
I understand why people are nervous, because, I mean, well, one, we still don't. This is what they've said they'll do. We don't know if that's what they will actually do. And two, Photoshop has pulled shenanigans with old versions of Photoshop before.
Yeah, there's always the potential for future things to go wrong. It's always worth thinking more than one step ahead in these sorts of things. It's not necessarily, what the people who are currently making the decisions doing. It's what are the people who are going to be making the decisions in 5 years' time going to be doing. And that's a good outlook for politics as well.
Yeah.
When people are debating laws, don't think what are the people who are currently in charge going to do with that law. Think what the people who are next in charge going to do with it, etc., etc. Obviously, Clip Studio, less significant than, legal ramifications of changing the law.
How
But
dare you?
to me personally. But yeah, I fully understand. I mean, it is also obviously worth, if something like this is quite important, you make your living with a particular piece of software or whatever, it is probably worth your time getting used to another piece of software as well. Anyway. Because putting all your eggs in one basket is not necessarily always a good idea. In the same way that if you're a traditional painter or whatever, maybe not always getting your paints from the same source every single time, because if that place shuts down, you got to get paint from somewhere.
Cheap paint, definitely most.com. .org.
.gov.
Yeah.
.biz. .biz is my favorite. Has there ever been a .biz website that you've known of?
Nope. I've only heard about it.
This is one. I don't know if this is in the fact book, but one of the facts that I learned from the people who wrote the fact book was that the, I think it's Catalan people, not really government, but whatever. They spend quite a lot of money and administration time verifying whether or not websites that end in .cat are in fact about Catalan or from Catalan and not just for cats, because it's supposed to be registered for Catalan, but obviously .cat is a very attractive prospect.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's understandable. I mean, ruining an entire country's dot something privileges. I mean, having a .cat is worth it.
Absolutely. We've got two for some reason. We've got .co.uk and .uk.
I've only ever heard of .co.uk.
Yeah, there are both. .co.uk sort of became prominent because it was the first one. I think they then introduced .uk to line up with like all of the other ones, .au or whatever, .de. But yeah, I don't know why they started with .co.uk.
The
I mean,
US just doesn't
would-
bother sticking anything at the end.
Yeah, that's also weird to me. But I guess, like, if they started with .co.uk, you want to also get .uk before anyone else decides to take
Yeah.
.uk and make a bunch of stupid shit with it. And
Yeah.
ruin an entire country.
Well,
I see what
you
you
imply
mean.
it's not already ruined.
I mean, you're doing a good job of it yourself, I have to admit.
So, well, I mean, that's actually something that businesses will regularly do. They'll have one URL where it's like, this is the official URL. But we've also bought a few other domain names just so that someone else doesn't buy them and put up a website and people go there on accident thinking that it's the right one.
Yeah, seems like it'd be a good idea.
Yeah, it's
Get
reasonable.
ahead of that.
What was the what was the thing going around the internet of somebody saying, "Look, Domino's, you need to stop punishing drunk people by having not claimed the URL domino's.cominos. If somebody's drunk enough to type that in, they should be rewarded." Which is fair enough.
I'm just thinking of all the weird website John Oliver has claimed over the years.
Sorry, I feel bad not responding to that, but I just have nothing to add.
Why did I create a new layer all of a sudden?
Create new what?
It's created a new layer just for this one line. That's strange.
Ooh, it's special. You've made a special line.
Yeah, apparently.
Apparently I can't draw circles on a sphere very well. Which is understandable.
I mean, drawing circles is freehand. It's pretty hard in general.
Ah, optical illusion. I remember this one. Is this the logo of the library? Or?
I don't know. I just sort of wanted to doodle an optical illusion, and it's one of the easier ones to do. Because basically what you do is you just draw in the
What's the
triangles and then start erasing bits.
Yeah. It should be like the logo of like a group of assassins or something, because it's all about what isn't there. Yeah, the illusion is just that you can pretty clearly see a triangle that isn't there.
Yeah.
Because your brain connects Connects the things that line up. Ooh. Hidden door behind a bookcase. With perspective. How dare you?
Reference. But also a hidden bookcase door that doesn't make sense because it's not in a room. It's floating.
So it's just in the middle of a field. Or...
Yeah, it's for the void, it's a McGuffin, and it makes doubly no sense. It doesn't need to be a bookcase.
Or maybe that's the clue. You know, you go like, oh, why is there a random bookcase here? That doesn't make any sense. Then you think, we've never seen a random bookcase, but we have seen a lot of random doors. Maybe it's a door. That's how you know.
Yay.
Gameplay.
Brilliant.
Also, look at this strong knight and this big frog. I was very patiently waiting for you on their beanbag. Where I have been expecting you.
Nip frog.
I'm a big fan of the proportions of this knight.
Big arms.
Oh, yes. You fiend.
You fiend!
I read that as you friend the first time. You friend!
I had that, we had Starwing, which was what Star Fox was called over here, for legal reasons. We had that on the Super Nintendo, and there was a bit where one of the characters shouts, "You fiend!" And as a kid, I didn't know the word fiend, so I was always wondering, why is he shouting, "You friend"?
I learned the word fiend a couple of years ago on YouTube because a lot of creators were doing ads for that Best Fiends game.
It rings a bell.
I had to Google what it meant because I was confused. Oh, it's a Pac-Man illusion.
The Pac-Man Triumvirate. Best Fiends is a free-to-play mobile match 3 puzzle game. Aren't all bloody mobile games match 3 puzzle games? They all seem to be.
Just different aesthetics.
I remember when I was younger, we had, we eventually got Sky satellite TV. Amazing. Very expensive. But it came with like a digital, the connection to a sort of digital back end, as it were, which had all like menu systems and a whole bunch of stuff in it. But it had games as well. You could play games with your TV remote. And one of them was a sort of match 3 sort of game, but you fired things into a beehive. And basically, long story short,
that seems smart.
well, it's honeycomb. You're firing into a honeycomb pattern, and you need to match up blocks of things.
Okay.
And you have to do it with a TV remote.
I know not all mobile games match 3 games, if only because I know that there's at least one Professor Layton game that's on mobile, and you can buy pretty much all of the old Dragon Quest games on mobile, but those are also one-time payment instead of free to play.
Nice. If I had time, I would do that. I'd like to get into some old JRPG things that I haven't, because basically my entire experience with that is Final Fantasy. And that's not a bad experience, but there are many other experiences to be had, you know?
Yeah.
And I have, I bought Chrono Trigger and installed it and played a little bit of it, and then got distracted by doing other things. I was like, I want to play this! It's apparently really good.
I know one of the Dragon Quest games is on just PC in general. I have no idea why all of the others are. on mobile, and that's it as far as ports are concerned. What's Square Enix for you? I know you can get most of the U's. YS, that's another old RPG, JRPG. You can get those on PC. And they are making more of at least some of the SMT side games available on PC.
Nice.
We'll see if they make more of them ported. So soon you will be able to play even more Persona on PC.
Hooray! Persona.
And I think the second Soul Hackers just came out, and they've got that one on PC as well.
Soul Hackers?
Yes.
That sounds like an old manga I used to read.
I mean, I'm sure it is very anime, considering how a lot of the side games, and actually main games as well with SMT go, it's just very right. I guess this is happening now. Anyone who watched the last time I played Devil Summoner will know that there's a lot of right. I guess this is happening now going on in that game as well.
A lot of what now?
The last time I played Devil Summoner, which was a couple of weeks ago, because I've been doing start of school stuff. There was a lot of, gee, I guess this is happening now. Including, but not limited to, a military boat turning into a mecha.
That's what I expect from my noir stories. Oh no, I've given away the plot of the October Noir. I've given away the fact that I'm folding in that with my randomly generated Metal Gear Solid story. Can you do Metal Gear Solid Noir? Is that a thing? Probably.
I mean, potentially?
I reckon you could. No, I'm not gonna. Got enough going on.
But the fish.
Hey, we've got to keep this game is PG something. I don't know what the rating systems are for these things. Basically, if kids want to play it, then the parents have to be there to judge their life choice.
Judge my life.
I mean, we could always do what the most recent Bayonetta has done, and have a setting that can turn down the horny with it, as it were.
I love having a horny meter in my games. Like, as As somebody who has played the first Bayonetta, I was about to ask, is there much horny in that game? And then I remembered that's not really something I'd remember. Not my area of expertise. I was there for a fighting game.
I
Turns out
mean,
I was bad at the fighting game.
your main character's bodysuit, as it were, is essentially their own hair.
Yes.
You use your hair to summon demons, which then means you are no longer wearing the bodysuit.
Oh. I see.
Now, you are typically covered, so there is nothing technically showing, but it is still very obvious what's going on.
Well, how's that different from the Venus de Milo?
Venus de Milo doesn't have arms.
I'm thinking of a different thing, hang on. Yeah, that's a statue, isn't it? What am I thinking of? For a start, what I'm thinking of is a painting. So that's how bad I'm.
I was thinking of the clamshell painting when you said Venus de Milo.
Yeah, that's
Birth of Venus.
Really?
Birth of Venus.
That-
Is that the one?
Yeah.
Had the same.
The right name. That's the one,
thumbprint
yeah.
for a second.
Point being, she's covering herself with hair. That one. Thank you, Walmart.com. That's definitely where I go to my
Hadn't
fine art.
been here to correct you. I would just be, oh yeah, yep.
One of you knew what I was talking about, ergo, communication was correct 33%
Yep.
of the time.
Nothing wrong here.
I say that, I have just found a version of it where somebody's put them in clothes. Venus is wearing jeans.
I don't think they had those in ancient Greece.
What? Why are they all wearing stuff made from jeans?
I don't know. It's the Venus de Milo. That would have worked if that's the name of the painting.
But it is.
But it isn't. But look, it's a joke once removed.
Well, now you gotta Photoshop the Venus de Milo and some jeans, and now you can make this joke.
Someone's probably already done it. Let me have a look.
I mean, I don't think you can see her legs, because isn't she wearing like a bunch of cloth stuff around her legs? Sort of a skirty looking thing?
Didn't stop anyone for this painting.
Yeah, but it's easier to edit pants onto someone where you have their legs than it is to edit pants onto someone who's got like a bunch of cloth on top of them already, and you can't see their legs.
So now I'm tempted to take a pair of jeans in Clip Studio, separate the legs and put them where the arms should be.
What?
Well, Venus de Milo's got no arms, and you said put jeans on her, so I put jeans where the arms were. Didn't say where to put them.
Yeah, true, I guess. I guess that's true.
Yeah, ooh, look at these friends. Hair and more hair.
Yeah.
Is this one scared of the fish person?
I was about to say
maybe.
something like that.
I mean,
Oh,
I
they have a
sort of
crush
think
on
they're
them.
probably just sort of intimidated by beauty with even more hair.
Look how much hair they've got. I wish I had that much hair.
I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Like I said, I'm here to do silly doodles.
That's
Silly
all.
doodle.
that is above and beyond what we ask for, which is nothing. So. Speaking of nothing. Oh, you don't want to see that. Should we spin the wheel?
Yeah. Probably time.
It's probably time. That's the wheel jingle.
Good jingle.
Da 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 da. It's wheels.
It's wheels.
It's wheel. I was supposed to be singing "Dare" by Gorillaz there, but I forgot how it goes.
Yeah.
Well,
That might be for the
Spain.
best.
I mean, I wouldn't be able to tell you if you did it. I've never listened to Guru.
We have locations, places,
Ooh.
buildings, homes, houses, hovels, huts, holes in the ground, places characters stand or want to stand. Pubs, I don't know, whatever location comes to mind. We have, anybody can do the viaduct, which is great because the viaduct is itself just one big location. I have caves, do a cave location, I can make the post office. Jeep has floating city. Dark has harbour. Christy, you have wizard nonsense. Where does that
Yes.
door go?
Where do any of the doors go?
Who knows? Wizards only know. It's a common phrase in the world of Via, abbreviated to WOC. Ragdoll, you have the abyss. Clamps has Golden City. Lewis has Forest. Kiro has Limbo, which is again is difficult to do locations for. And Oobs could do the wild. Cave locations. I've already made a location in the cave with where the head slingers sling.
Yeah.
But what else?
You
There's
did.
like base camp for the horrible archaeologist. I guess just sort of come up with some designs for the ruins of this place. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't think any of us have sort of made that. Again, it's difficult to come up with the idea of underground ruins without overlapping with unnamed, hitherto explored, alternate fictional properties that may or may not be called Elden Ring. So I've got to try and think of something clever. Or not.
Or you could just do your standard runes.
Standard ruins.
Or you could be just outside the cave.
What if the ruins are on the ceiling?
Ooh, ceiling runes. I don't know how that would work, but sounds fun.
There was it was a civilization that built on top of the mountain that the caves are under, and then something happened, and well, maybe they built on the side of the mountain. Then there was a massive landslide, which completely covered the civilization. Then slowly but surely, the caves inside eroded, exposing the bottom of the city.
Cool.
There you go. It's an idea.
The bottom.
So it's less that the buildings are upside down and more that the buildings are like glued to the ceiling.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which one I would find more upsetting.
I find it
Cool.
more upsetting that I imagine,
Imagine.
but like the way you said it, I imagined a bomb.
You mentioned what, sorry?
But
Or just it emerging from the ceiling?
Oh, because at bottom. Yeah, I get it. I
So,
get your thought.
thank you.
So I'm thinking like the previous civilization, they had like a kind of huge sort of double amphitheater with like lots of stands and stalls like this, and then this got covered over time. That could work. We can make that work.
Double amphitheater.
Christy, when you said that the bookshelf is in just sort of the middle of nowhere, you really meant the middle of nowhere. That's not even
Oh
on the
yeah,
ground.
I did. I did mean that.
I thought those were going to be two disconnected pictures, but dang.
Although I do like the idea of this as an area, like obviously as you enter the caves, you just see this massive pair of buttocks in the ceiling. But as you as you actually get inside them, you do find this sort of like caved-in amphitheater area. That sounds like a cool sort of level.
And the butt joke.
That's what you want.
You always want to balance your cool stuff with butt jokes.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, who said anything in this was cool?
Yeah.
I think it's mostly butt jokes. That's the level we're aiming for.
I mean, so far we have one butt joke.
Metaphorical
We
butt
must
jokes.
have more.
I mean, it seems like for most of this, the player is the butt of the joke.
yes.
Yeah, that seems more accurate. Yeah.
Was it environments? I forget what the wheel said
The
already.
places.
Places.
Locations. Whatever that may mean for you. Or indeed, whatever that may not mean for you. It's up to you.
Places in the floating city is weird.
Yeah, I mean, most of those are probably in the process of being destroyed right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine quite a bit of it is sort of like with what we have in Stray, where it's like, well, this used to be lived in.
Yeah.
Everything's now sort of broken.
Broken futuristic nonsense. That's probably most of it.
Significantly fewer friend robots. Unfortunately.
Very unfortunately.
They're all Blazer.
No. No.
I have no idea what the purpose of a double-sided amphitheater would be.
Surround sound.
Really intense dueling banjos.
Dueling banjo orchestras.
I mean, it's either like a thing of like there were like two like teams in the city and they got like very intense about the rivalry and they each need their own amphitheater and they happen to just be built side by side. Or it's the case of like one is used for like something like gladiators fights kind of thing, and the other is for races with
Or it's the biggest
chariots.
volleyball game you've ever seen.
Or yeah, like a different sports thing.
Well, one is for gladiator fights and the other one is for children's entertainers. Make sure you go to the right one.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, look at this.
Like in one thing, one is a gladiator fighting against like some weird eldritch lion, and in the other there is a clown.
Terrifying.
I like the fish person you made, Chris. It's very fun.
It's very good.
Thank you. It's basically a Zora. I don't have an imagination.
Good. Me neither.
I disagree. Look at these friends.
Their personality is based on hair, so you know.
I mean,
Hair-based personality.
you ever met a punk?
Boy.
Right, aside from this being a bum on the ceiling, what are we going to do with it?
You've answered your own question.
I like how you were the one worried about terms of service. And I'm the one drawing a pair of buttocks. Take that, Pinup.
Yeah. I mean, the pinup is gone, so, you know.
This is a Pinup of a giant. I didn't even see it. I didn't even get to see the start of it.
Yeah, because I couldn't figure it out.
I demand a refund.
I will give you a stoic Pinup, don't you worry. Just wasn't about to figure out a Pinup post live on the stream.
No, I want a refund of your time. I want you to get that time back so you can do something fun with it.
No. That's
Yes.
it. Just no.
Oh, that's a lovely gentleman you're drawing there.
Oh, hello. Well, they seem to be happy, at least.
Might want to go see an eye doctor sometime soon.
I think he's fine.
See? They're fine. I've told you they're fine in that the beautiful, the eldritch double voice that they have at the moment.
Oh. Oh, that's what. Mm. Okay then.
They're fine.
I'm just reminded of mouth.
They're real happy now.
I'm just reminded of that tiefling, I think, character that Miss has. Where one of the horns is just coming out the eyeball for reasons. Oh, and you've decided to do colors. Wonderful. Wonderful.
I can guess what color it is.
Not the only red on the canvas now.
It's strawberry jam. They're a very messy eater.
Yeah, exactly.
tentacles
Everything's
helped.
fine. Everything's fine and great.
It's supposed to be done. The ocean.
They're very happy to be jamming.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you like jamming.
They're jamming out and jamming in. I feel like the scale of this archive shelf isn't ridiculous enough. I'm gonna shrink the hero here.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's like almost possible.
Hang on.
Yeah, there we go.
Now it's ridiculous.
For the wheels to be proportional to the ladder, the person does have to be the size of a wheel.
feel like the wheels need to stay large, though, 'cause it's a big wheel. And I'm not gonna fix the rungs, because there's no point in trying to do that. It's just to get the idea of how ridiculous and big it is.
What do you mean there's no point? Don't you know there's a difference between right and wrong?
What?
What? Sorry, I blacked out. What's going on?
I'm not sure.
Now there's our hero staring at this really, really tall ladder.
Every rung is a little quick time event.
Great, our game is quick time events.
We've got to make it worse and worse each time. This is part of the contract. I guess actually it gives him a bit of training to be climbing up this scaffolding to get into the butt.
Don't say that.
Those were words. I'm not sure if there were words. Those were words that should have been said, but those were words.
You go in around the edge. You don't go in the middle. It's fine. Not that bad.
It's also a double Quidditch pitch.
Didn't I was trying to work out how it would be, because theoretically the foundations would just be circular, so instead I decided that they should have carved the whole thing out of the bedrock, which is why it has that shape. So
Once upon a time, a giant sat there. Now it's a theater.
I like that idea. It started as giant buttock prints, and then people were trying like, well, we've got to do something with them to hide the fact that these are giant buttock prints. Let's turn it into an amphitheater. Yay, now everyone's forgotten about the giant buttock prints, and now in the future, all you can see are giant buttock print.
That's
They tried to hide it.
really funny, actually. Very unintended consequences.
Ooh. No, got more fish people.
Yeah, I wanted to make a seahorse version of your cool guy because I loved them, and then it turned really bad, so I made them mad at yours.
They all look kind of mad. That was good. That's a good time.
See, my first thought was, are you a squid or are you a kid? But
Cricket.
that's
Splatoon.
yes, that is Splatoon.
I know a thing! I don't know how I know a thing, but I know a thing.
Well, I mean, right now Splatoon is everywhere again because they are doing a basically they've released a sort of demo of Splatoon 3 for free. Basically, they're doing a stress test. So it's just like, hey, everyone get on, we're doing a mini Splatfest thing. Splatfest being one of the, like, event type things you could do. Because despite the fact that it's cute game with squids and octopuses, it's also a game where you're going around fighting people.
It's also a game where you say words like Splatfest.
It's technically a multiplayer shooter, but you're also shooting the ground because you're shooting ink.
Because you hate the Earth.
It's a
mouth.
turf flaming thing. So you use the ink to cover it in your color, and that's now your territory.
Oh, okay. That's kind of like I'm thinking like reverse Mario Sunshine.
Yeah, essentially.
Reverse flood. Food.
It's worse. It's not a mouth. It's a broken spine and eyes.
Hooray! What? Oh, hi.
I like how you said hooray first. Just no context at all. You decided to go, yeah, sure, why not? Yay!
Yay! Yeah. Chib, you alright?
What?
Feeling? Is this how you're feeling right now?
I mean, kind of.
Mm.
I mean, they're happy about it.
I mean,
Very relaxed.
the God, I feel like something is trying to fall out my eyeball mood is definitely something I felt when I've had like a really bad headache. Because usually, especially if it's like a headache that's related to dehydration, or just staring at screens too much, it's like the pressure's coming from right behind my left eyeball. My left eyeball in
Oh, I know that one.
So like that's sort of the
You said that
mood,
like
but
it was a TV show. I know that one. That's my favorite. Ah, never did get a third season, did it?
the eyeball spine, that's new.
Yeah. I've come to see the eye doctor. This is a chiropractor. Exactly.
The eyeball spine doctor. Very specialized.
Specialized?
The spine doctor.
I don't like that one. There's been so many bad jokes, and that one just the last drop.
It's the bit of spaghetti that broke the camel's back.
What I was trying to do was I was trying to make a mutant for Dark because I remember that was a thing, which was the only thing my brain allowed me to remember about Dark's region at the moment.
I did get that you were going for mutant. I did get that. I didn't think this just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, but I think I kind of, strayed away from mutant. I think this is just firmly into, like, possessed.
And happy
Yeah.
about.
I mean, hard to tell if happy or not, but definitely possessed.
I love that
Like-
he isn't just he isn't quite looking at us.
Yeah, they're like looking into space, hunched over, shoulders just like.
Which is a mood as well.
Just thinking about something funny they once said. Yeah, I did
It's
that.
just like, do you know what? All of this is happening to me right now. And you might think, oh god, this is a disaster, this is terrible, but honestly, it got rid of my back pain and I feel amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't have back pain if you don't have a back. Ah, it's brilliant.
It's like today's been shit and you're exhausted and everything hurts, but you just sat down for the first time today.
Yeah.
How is this so relatable?
Because we are all getting to the point of our lives where we're using.
It says something about the human condition that is the most relatable image that has been made for Project V.
Yeah, it just occurred to me like this is body horror and it's relatable.
Well, I hope Dark enjoys it.
Congratulations, Chib. You have invented relatable body horror.
Art is sort of how you communicate feelings and emotions and thoughts to other people. So, I mean, earlier when we said, oh, yeah, I look at that and it's like, yes, I know that feeling. That's the feeling of, I've now got a headache from not drinking water and staring at a screen for too long. And and it just feels like something's about to crawl out of my left eyeball in particular. So you've now just drawn my headaches.
Cool.
Well, you have my sincere sympathies.
For sure.
When I have headaches, I fantasize a lot about drilling a hole to like let the pressure out.
Oh, Japanning.
What now?
Japanning. Bloodletting.
Sure.
Hang on. Probably sounds like I'm
So-
saying Japanning. It's Japanning, I think.
Oh, that's why I was confused.
Is that what it's called? I mean, I know before humanity invented anesthetics, humanity was already doing surgery, and
Yeah.
one of the surgeries that was performed was cutting a hole in someone's skull to relieve pressure. I think part of the idea was like, oh, let the demons out, but as far as we can tell, it's like, oh no, yeah, this looks like the person would have been suffering something where, like, fluid in the brain or whatnot gotta let some of the pressure out. And
sorry,
they didn't.
It's trepanning, not chepanning. Trepanning. Yeah, surgical intervention in which a hole is drilled or scraped into the human skull. There you go. So it's a thing. It's a thing people have done.
Yeah, and even before we invented anesthetics, people were surviving it for at least a while. And
The biggest
technically, even
problem
today.
was probably before like knowing of bacteria and shit. The pain stuffs, like, yeah, they could survive it, but couldn't survive the oops, things aren't sterile.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, the two biggest things that have sort of helped humans survive surgery is one, cleaning your shit, and two, anesthetics, because it turns out being awake for stuff like that is traumatizing.
Oh, is it? Oh. You learn something new every day.
I mean, I guess if you like getting cut into, maybe, but I'm not a fan.
I mean, this friend here might.
There's that, yes.
I'm not entirely sure at this point that they can be cut into. I think if you try and cut them into, they'll cut into several pieces, each of which will be autonomous.
Yeah, I think that if you try to cut into him for surgery, you'll meet the creature that's living under his skin.
And they are very grumpy.
Yeah,
You
they
just
don't need
woke them.
surgery.
They used all of their happy vibes on keeping the person happy.
Yeah.
I might make this into a demon kit then.
Do it.
Do it.
It happens.
This makes me want to invent a sport that these old civilizations played. Or maybe there's a boss in this arena in which you have to play that sport against them, but in a deadly way.
Yes.
Good, glad we got that cleared up.
I was thinking
Right,
of like
you should do that.
I mean, there's a lot of sports already that are already sort of deadly. Any sport can be deadly if you play it wrong enough.
or just too much in general.
That's to it. It was the case with basically any activity. So, well, for me anyway. Physical exertion is hard.
Standing is hard.
I think, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to leave early.
Oh no, thanks for coming and drawing good stuff.
Thanks for your good silly characters.
Eee. Good uplifting drawings. Hashtag relatable, am I right?
Should I just post that picture to my Twitter with hashtag relatable?
I will retweet it.
Cool.
We cannot stop you.
I'll do that then.
Just like with Pinup Stoic, we cannot stop you.
I'll do that and then I leave.
I mean, at the very least, it's going to end up in the VIA gallery, so it will be preserved for posterity. I think I'm going to have a think about a boss that revolves around ancient sports.
Just the worst rugby player. The worst rugby fan.
Wait, so I'm gonna go now.
Boom, retweeted. I was there, waiting. Thanks for doodling. It was fun. Go have a good rest.
Yeah, good night. Thanks for fun
Bye.
times.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Frankly, I am personally appalled that Chibi would say, "Oh, I'm not feeling very good. I'll just come along and not do much," and then draws all this amazing stuff and then leaves. Like, how dare they?
15 minutes early. Just doing all good and shit.
Like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna do good at this test, and then you get in there, and then they leave halfway through. Like, oh yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that a couple of times. It's always nerve-wracking when that happens.
So I've never had
I had the last of my qualifying tests for a certification thing I'll have to do, and then I walked in. Now, granted, I think part of it is just they sort of standardize the testing stuff because there's multiple tests for different certification things, and mine was specifically with math stuff. But every single one of them, you have 4 hours to take the test, and I think that's just a standardization thing, so that anyone doing the test administration doesn't have to worry about it. It's just 4 hours around. I got done in like 2.5, and it always makes me a little nervous when stuff like that happens, because it's like, okay, either I over-prepared or I missed something. And I'm not going to know which it is for a month.
Hooray! I remember there was one year at university where there was a subject I was a big fan of. It was algebra, funnily enough. Who'd have thought? I think it was in my first year, and we did the exam, and I finished way early, and I'm like, I'm gonna check everything over, because this was one of those exams where, like, every year the same person sets the exam every year, and they don't really bother coming up with new questions. They're just slight variations on the previous year's questions. So yeah, if you understood those, you're fine. But I was just sort of sat there for, a good chunk of time thinking I don't really want to go because just in case my brain goes, oh wait, hang on, you got that wrong. And luckily for me, I was joined at my desk by a tiny little spider. I was just having a little crawl across my desk, and I'm like, yes, a friend. So I passed the time with the tiny little spider just crawling over my exam.
Oh.
And that's how I made friends with small spiders.
You had a study buddy.
Yeah. Of course, I was disqualified from the exam because they said I'm not allowed to have access to the web.
Boo. Boo, this man.
As is your right. As is my punishment. But yes, and that is the catalyst to which I attribute the fact that my room now currently has like 10 spiders in it, and I don't mind.
They're algebra study buddies.
Yeah. It's like I have gotten attached to some of them. There was one that was over my window for the longest time, and unfortunately they died. And I gave them a nickname, Penelope. And the only reason I gave them a nickname is because they used to respond to me doing my vocal warm-ups for streams. Every time I did them, they'd sort of scuttle around. Probably just because my voice vibrating, it made them go, oh, what's happening? But then one moved in. One took over the same spot as the previous one, and I think it's the same sort of spider. And that one doesn't respond, and it makes me it's upset. You're not Penelope.
You suck.
You suck. Screw you, spider. I know you're just here to catch mosquitoes, but screw you.
Yeah, to me it sort of depends. Most spiders are fine, but we've got a couple of poisonous ones here that you don't really want to fuck around with. So
Oh, I'm talking. Yeah, I'm resolutely talking about British spiders, which are absolutely no threat, and mostly very small. If I can see it from across if I can make out its legs from across the room, it's leaving. I'm getting it out of it.
See, here we've got the opposite problem. The big spiders are the ones you don't want to worry about. So, like tarantulas, if they bite you, it mostly is just annoying. Fiddlebacks, however, that'll send you to the hospital if you're lucky. If you're not lucky, it'll send you to the morgue.
Lovely. What'd you say, fiddleback?
Yeah, fiddlebacks.
Fiddleback.
Also called brown recluse. They're little brown spiders named after... They've got a design on their back that looks sort of like a fiddle. And they are very venomous. We also have black widows, which are sort of infamous for being poisonous.
Clues in the name, I guess.
Yeah. So those, it's like, yeah, no, go away. Other bugs, however, it's like, hey, if you're a bed bug, you're dead. We're just gonna kill you off right now. I'm not screwing around with bed bugs.
Every time I think about living in a different country, how awesome that would be, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm probably pretty safe here with the critters. It's always what gets me on bitter thoughts.
Yeah, Europe is pretty lucky when it comes to quite a lot of but wildlife and weather generally. Those two things we're pretty don't have too many extreme weather conditions or extreme wildlife. But or volcanoes. That sort of thing, We're mild.
The Mile people.
Yeah, everywhere in the United States, there's something you have to deal with. It's just a matter of which something you'd rather deal with.
The only thing we really have to deal with here in terms of poison would probably just be, don't eat the mushrooms. Probably a bad idea if you don't know what you're doing. But even then, I don't know what I'm doing, so maybe it's fine.
I mean, in general, you probably shouldn't eat a wild something that you don't know what it is.
Yeah. Don't stand on a hedgehog. That's probably a bad idea.
I mean, at least the spines aren't gonna, like, come out and stick in you, like porcupines.
True. An adder will give you a bit of a nip. I guess we got those. But I've never seen one. I don't know. Yeah, we don't really have... I guess we got rid of a lot of the wildlife that we didn't want.
Yeah.
Like we've just reintroduced some I think the wild ox or something
Yeah.
down in my part of the country.
Reintroducing wildlife's awesome. We got wild wolves for the first time some years ago, migrating from Germany. And an idiot shot it.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
I tried to look up just like new things that have been introduced into my part of the country to try and work out what the animal was. The first result I got was they're going to open a Taco Bell here.
Well,
I mean,
not quite
one could
what I was
argue that a Taco Bell is a wild animal.
Could one?
I mean, I don't know if you could argue it effectively, but you could.
ooh, is this another illusion or a puzzle?
I don't know. I've just sort of gotten to the point where it's like, screw it, we're just going to draw a weird geometric thing.
It's also a way to fold paper to make a box.
It's a way to fold paper to make a lot of things. So with some really complicated origami, basically what you do is you fold a lot of guidelines, and then it just sort of, with how the guidelines are, you can sort of just crumple it into a shape. Pretty interesting. I've got a book with some stuff on that, but it's in my office.
Oh yeah, I
I've
remember.
learned many times throughout my life how to fold a box, and I always forget it again.
I zoomed out and I just noticed that the cat is now in a shadow corner, so that's
Ooh.
lovely.
Yeah, I wanted to
Demon
make
cat.
it first.
Oh, and it's got a mouth in the head. It's
I tried to
got
make it cursed, and it ended up mostly like the Cheshire Cat.
See, this is what I expected from Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland, right? But yeah, I was going to say earlier, this nice little scene of the person standing by the hole in the field of flowers. I liked it. It's good.
Cute.
Evocative.
Very surreal.
Yeah. Also, yes, apparently they're reintroducing European bison here, as well as a bunch of birds. Like chuffs.
Chuffs.
Chuffs. Guess how it's spelt.
In Britain is just it's gonna generate a lot of jokes.
So would you say that the naturalists are very chuffed about this?
They are very chuffed.
Yeah.
Haha. Yes, they haven't been here for 200 years. And they're being reintroduced. Chuffs, anyway. I don't know about the bison.
How big are these bison? Because American bison are like big fuck off animals.
It's pretty big. Like, one of the things that they've noticed by reintroducing them is they're starting to churn up the ground properly. Because, you know, there's been nothing that's been doing that recently.
I remember the difference being the height mostly. Like, I don't remember if it's the other way around, but I think the American bison is shorter but more muscly and weighs more, and the European is taller and thinner.
Yes, I've just found a thing that says the European bison is slightly larger and longer-legged than the American bison, but less heavy. So yes, correct. Ding, ding, ding! 2 points to Christy.
It's only because I found out they have been reintroduced on Bornholm in Denmark, and I never knew. So I looked it up.
Yes, apparently they've been extinct in Britain since World War One, so just over 100 years.
Yeah, we've got a couple of different places and programs that manage bison herds, and basically it's like, hey, be careful when you're driving in this area because they are big, and if you get in a fight with a bison in your car, the bison will win.
Damn. It's apparently
also if they have
sorry.
Also, if they have calves, avoid them.
Oh
do
yeah,
not
because the
go.
mama comes, right?
Yep, they do not like it if you are near their little fuzzy calves. Like, they are cute. Do not approach.
They are cute from a distance.
It's just so hard to keep a distance from the cute.
If you do not keep a distance...
I remember reading that you had to stay away from the calves when reading about them on Bornholm, and I was like, yeah, but you know, you could probably, like, it'd be fine.
You might know, but they don't know. That's the problem. If they don't know, they get spooked.
I was basically prepared to die for a cute calf.
Don't die!
I mean, you will.
Yeah.
You're a nice friend alive. Our conversations would be much more boring if you were dead.
Harder to have.
They sure would. Oh, would they?
I mean, if you continue to converse, then maybe not. Our conversations might actually be very interesting. But purely by the virtue of the fact that you are still having them. But nonetheless, don't die, Christy. Don't die for bison. We're friends. Enjoy your company.
I just keep imagining those sweet, sweet calves.
Yeah, just get a stuffed one and hug that instead.
Yeah. But also, Bornholm is closer to Sweden than Denmark, and it takes 6 hours or something to get there, so yeah, probs not gonna ever go there again anyway. And I meant the rest of Denmark, not just... It's not close to itself.
It's not close to itself. We do not have the reflexive property.
I don't think I'm going to be able to get any more lines in this unless I make it bigger.
Yeah, the
It's getting a little small.
brushes don't get very small.
Well, it's just because we're on quite a small canvas. I did try and do a bigger canvas when we started this, but it caused a lot of lag. So we are currently doing all of this on a canvas that is smaller than I do for doodles on my own. So I usually start with like 2000 by 2000, and this is, I think, 1920 by 1080. About half the size of what I usually do, and we've got all this stuff on it.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Yes, I'm trying to think of something to do with this amphitheater, like a reason to go there, for example.
I mean, an amphitheater in a cave is like enough for it to be a thing people will go to, isn't it?
It depends how.
Yeah, I mean, it is an exploration type game, so I have seen people just run off and go like, oh, there's a tree just by itself on a hill. That probably means something. Let's go look at it.
Also, just like the giant butts in the distance.
Yeah, one must explore. One is compelled.
One sees the butt and must go there and stays for the amphitheater.
I was about to say, you know, the standard format of came for the X, stayed for the Y. But unfortunately, when the X is but, I don't really want to start that sentence that way. So.
Came for the orbs. Came for the imprint.
An imprint or an X-print? Because this is the reverse of it, isn't it? This is the shell of the flooring that they added. Maybe like at the end of the fight, you break through and the whole thing sort of a big crack sort of appears and the boss that you're fighting falls through. That wasn't intentional.
A butt crack, if you will.
That was not intentional. Me being oblivious is not terms of service.
You created another joke. I would say, well, not a crest, consequence of the crest by accident. But it makes the whole quest butt themed.
Well, that then begs the question, what does the boss look like?
Probably completely unrelated. It's like the most generic cave boss.
I was thinking
I know what their personality would be. Their personality is they're just a right asshole.
Hey!
And their friend is the left. Oh, no.
Thank you for this gift, Chris.
Gift or curse?
Both.
I sure don't know. But on that note, should we give it a pause? And by pause, I mean an end.
Yes.
Sure.
Unless we have anything else we want to do.
Nope. I'm all drawn out.
We've drawn 3 locations today, which is not bad, given that we started with McGuffin.
Yep.
This was a good time. We drew the good stuff. We got the demon cat. We got the door disguised as a bookcase that isn't well disguised because there are no other bookcases around. we got this lovely evocative scene of somebody staring at the hole. We have hashtag relatable. A couple of hair characters. Big old frog waiting patiently for you. Good proportions knight. Sleepy cat. Couple of fish head friends. The buttocks. Glowing orbs. Optical illusions. Nice folding patterns and a big ladder. That's the summary of today.
Yes.
A lot done in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Good time. A lot achieved. And it is an achievement. Speaking of achievements, we're still playing Neo on Tuesday. Because Neo doesn't stop.
It is the game that never ends.
I feel bad to keep making that joke. I just think it's funny that it just keeps going. But I am enjoying it. It's just keeps going. I'm like, great, we can move on to something else now. Oh no! It'll be spooky season by the time we finish. But yeah, so we're back with Neo on Tuesday. Wednesday will be either more Neo if I'm in the middle of a boss fight and get really annoyed at it. Well, not annoyed, but like really, I want to beat this. Like I did with Maria. Otherwise, it's creative stuff. Because I'm currently doing a knockoff of the Final Fantasy IX soundtrack, because I want that to be the next draw through. So I'm doing my knockoff version of that for the background so I don't get copyright strikes. So maybe we'll do some of that. Maybe we'll do a knockoff fantasy track. That might be fun. Saturday, we're not doing Raft. We finished Raft. So we'll be doing something else. Another thing. And then back Sunday next week, we'll be talking more locations and in Project Via and stuff. And trying to find more ways to insert butts into the storyline.
There's a joke I could make here, but I think it's TOS, so I'm not going to.
Yeah, I was thinking how that could go, and just let's not.
I was just smiling a whole lot.
Well, thank you very much for joining and contributing. Hope you had a lovely time.
Yes.
If not, no refunds.
No refunds.
No refunds. Goodbye, everybody.